This is Pop Culture Yearbook. On this show, we pick pieces of culture that were important to us in a given year. We then discuss our memories and dig into those movies, albums, shows, and more. I'm Brad.
I am Pete.
And I'm Giff.
Brad, I just need to say something. You sounded very good on that intro. You sounded like a radio DJ there for some reason. It sounded like booming when you said it. So great job.
Well, what did I do different? I want to.
I don't know what you did. I mean, I don't know.
I can't wait to listen.
I don't know what. Did you pick up on that, Gifford? I thought it just sounded great.
It sounds like a guy entering his 5th year of podcast excellence right there.
I thought you were going to say 5th year of puberty.
I thought you were going to say his 50th year because I had a birthday yesterday, but I'm not. So I thought maybe you got it all messed up.
No.
You're starting your 50th year. So that's how it works, right?
True. It's the last year of the 40s is commenced.
Yep. Entering. Right. Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
And I'm okay with that because these are good years right now. We are
Don't ever fret. You know what I always say? Don't ever fret getting old because it is a privilege denied to many. Well, it's a privilege denied to many.
Wow, Pete, that's like deep.
Deep.
That's not my own. I saw it somewhere.
I figured that. All right, we kicked off our 5th season, as you just alluded to last week. We talked about our big picks. We're excited because these are all things that we just, we love. We love these things, and we can't wait to talk about them. And so I'll get into more details in a second. But so a year ago on New Year's Eve, my wife and I watched When Harry Met Sally, and it took a minute to get her to watch it because, I just assumed we had watched it. And but she had never talked much about it. So we sit down and it's like, she couldn't remember any of it. And she either had seen it once or she hadn't even seen it. And it blew my mind. And then I get nervous because, she doesn't always like everything when you watch it the first time. And she loved this movie so much that night and got reacquainted with it. And now it's going to be a tradition. We watched it again this year on New Year's Eve. And as I'm watching it on New Year's Eve, I'm like, I can't wait to do this damn movie on our show. And so when I proposed to you that we do this month on stuff we love, it was all selfish because I wanted to do When Harry Met Sally. And luckily you agreed because you can pick whatever you want to. So, why wouldn't you? But, so we have this tradition going. And I've watched this movie so many times in my life, but it's like this new thing. And better yet, this movie is one of those movies that's, in the zeitgeist, as they say. Mm-hmm. So 5 minutes before we got on tonight, I'm scrolling through the old X. And they're previewing the Super Bowl commercial that's going to come out this year, which probably came out yesterday, as of when we're recording this, with Harry and Sally, Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan in the deli where they filmed the orgasm scene, recreating it for Hellman's, which of course is fantastic. And so it was so fun to watch that. And what timing! They're giving us like free promotional Super Bowl commercials for this episode. So
we just hope that we just hope that this episode is going to create your own orgasm scene, listener.
Yes. It's audible orgasm time. Settle in.
I got a lot more about like my memories and why I love the movie and everything, but I'll just leave it at that. That's why I picked it tonight and why I couldn't wait to do it. So let's get into, why we love, our memories of the movie, as we always are wont to do. I'm going to start with Gifford this time. What do you remember? I'm pretty sure we all love this movie. What's your background?
I was trying to think of the first time I watched it. I believe I watched it by myself, more than likely on video. I think this was one that I got from my uncle who recorded it off of HBO. I was really excited to watch it because, of course, you had, Billy Crystal and, a lot of great stuff from him in the past. So I remember watching the film thinking that, it would be, a lot more laugh out loud stuff. But of course I was younger. So a lot of the humor is kind of, more older relationship stuff. And, I was looking for more in your face type humor. So the one thing I remember about this
is
the deli scene was great. But I remember like early on in the movie when he spits the grape.
Yes.
I mean, I was like, this is great. This is going to be exactly what I'm looking for. I laughed so damn hard when he did that. And I'm like, this is going to be so great. But then, of course, the movie itself didn't speak to a young GIF as much as it did in later viewings. And the dialogue in this is so great. The writing's just perfect. The acting's wonderful. And, you know, even though we had, you know, Meg Ryan in a smaller role in Top Gun 3 years earlier, this was the movie that you fell in love with this woman. She is so cute.
Love
in this movie, the way her upper lip like curls a little bit when she smiles, and it's just absolutely amazing. That was not lost on young GIF, how cute she was and amazing.
And as you bring that up, I wanted to harken back. So one of our other favorite romantic comedies, your choice, Crazy Stupid Love, which we did a couple years ago. That's a great episode that we did. But she just fits that line so perfectly of the perfect combination of sexy and cute. Like, that line was based on Meg Ryan in the 80s, early 90s, but especially this movie. That's what I thought when I watched it.
Yep. I'll turn it over to Pete.
I couldn't even tell you the first time that I saw this movie because I don't remember, but I just saw it so many times growing up. Brad, I know we've watched it a few times, and it's just absolutely, in my opinion, the best rom-com ever, and it's not even close. Like, no other romantic comedy can even touch this movie. Just because I just love that the way their their relationship develops. It wasn't even really a friendship at first, and just how it evolves over time. And then you have, of course, the great finish. It just absolutely love it. And perfect mix of emotion, a little bit of drama, and comedy, all in one. It's just perfect.
Yes. All right. So Gifford, it didn't speak to you. It is definitely directed at a little more mature audience than we would have been when it came out, but it spoke to me. So I've always been an old soul.
Yes, you have.
So
yeah, you have. My God.
I remember the first time I watched this. So I would have just turned 14, maybe was even still 13, because it was on VHS. My brother was home, apparently, whenever it was. He was home from college because he was in college at this point, and he rented it. And like he said, we're gonna watch this, and like I knew who Billy Crystal was, and I had heard of the movie, so I mean, I was like excited to watch it. I think I even knew who Rob Reiner was, because he's on this. Just we'll get to him in a minute. Just this amazing streak of movies. So even though it's a rom-com, but I'm looking for it to be a comedy, just like Gifford said. And so maybe my age wasn't the demographic for this movie, but I mean, it spoke to me right away. The humor is it's amazing. There is laugh out loud stuff, but then there's other more subtle stuff too. I love the sets, the scenery of this movie. I mean,
yes, I had that written down.
Yeah, I mean, it's perfection. I mean, the autumn in New York, the Christmas, it's just amazing. I love the music. So one of the first CDs I bought was the Harry Connick When Harry Met Sally soundtrack, but besides that, which is fantastic, the movie contains a lot of other great songs that aren't on there because they're not the Harry Connick songs. But all the songs are just great, and I love the jazz music. It's what introduced me to Harry Connick. Well, most people probably. And it just began a years-long absolute infatuation with Meg Ryan for me. I love her, and I would love anything she was in forever. She was like my first, probably maybe Michelle Pfeiffer. I actually liked first because I knew her from movies before this, and I really liked her. But I don't know. Meg Ryan those were the two. And I mean, these are like, well, they're not old, but they're mature women compared to my age at that time. And like, correct. I'm in love with both of them. As you said, Pete, I think a lot of people agree. This movie sets the standard for rom-coms. There is it set the tone for every movie that came after it. And the only two movies that I put near the same category are the aforementioned Crazy Stupid Love, which was just amazing. And then I wouldn't put it quite that high. It's more of, with Christmas theme, it's more, kind of maybe based on that. But Love Actually, we've talked about how much we love that movie on this show too.
Yeah.
But both of those are a little bit more of the ensemble type too. So they're a little different, whereas this is really about the two characters.
Right. I also think sometimes rom-coms, they get like too corny and too goofy and even unrealistic. There's nothing corny about this.
Funny you
at
say
all.
that.
And it seems like it's very, it's very realistic. This is how love happens and how people meet. And it just felt very real.
So it's funny you say that, because at the end of this, to close out when we're done, I picked out a couple comments I found on Reddit that I thought just like summed this up just beautifully. And one of them is very similar to what you just said, Pete. So I'm going to read those at the end for closure. But this is a time too. So, hey guys, remember we owned a video store at this time when I was a kid?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
I mean, I was just getting into movies so much and formulating my own opinions, and like this is not just a great romantic comedy, and this is a great movie, period. And so, like it just spoke to me. And I do love a good rom-com, but nothing matches this one. The sets, the scenery, I said, but the clothes and the fashions look good too, and it doesn't look dated. For a movie in 1989, I don't feel like this looks like this looks like it could have been filmed in a lot of ways, today still. There's nothing like weird or bad about it. I would describe it as timeless, and that's what makes it so great. It's a timeless movie. It was up for tons of awards, and it influenced almost every rom-com that came afterwards. And so I could go on and on and on, but that is why I picked it and why I've loved it since basically 1990, whenever I first actually got to see it.
Can I add something here?
No.
So,
Yes.
Last month, of course, we reran some of our episodes, one of which was the Seinfeld episode, correct?
Correct.
So, I started watching Seinfeld like when I was just sitting around, eating dinner or, lunch or whatever. And so last night I watched this movie. But before I watched, 2 episodes of Seinfeld right before it. And I'd never drawn this parallel before, but these two, Harry and Sally, mirror Jerry and Elaine quite a bit. And
Interesting.
the funny thing is the episode that I watched directly before I watched the movie was The Mango, which is about faking orgasm.
Which
I just saw that one the other night too.
Which we talked, yeah, exactly.
If you missed it, go back a couple of weeks and find it.
So watching that episode directly before When Harry Met Sally, of course, I've got Seinfeld on the brain.
Fake.
Right. So, of course, I'm waiting as I'm watching the movie. I'm waiting for the deli scene. You can't wait to get to that part. That's, iconic for sure. But, the way that these two talk, it's kind of like them in reverse because, of course, Jerry and Elaine dated before the airing of the show, and then they became friends.
They're
so
like
these
the
two are kind
of Harry Met Sally.
Well, yes, exactly.
the Asian reverse.
But the way that
Brad,
these
you are now the king of analogies.
Thank you.
that is excellent.
This season.
But the way they talk, the interaction between the two, and anything is on the table. They're very honest. They're not looking. A lot of this movie in the middle. They're not looking to get with one another. So they're very honest about what they're doing with other people and how they feel, because they're not trying to get into each other's pants. So, yeah, a lot of.
You're right. Hold on. You're right. It is an unrealistic movie.
But a lot of, I drew a lot of parallels watching the movie this time around after viewing, Seinfeld right beforehand.
Well, that was really interesting. And I think it's funny that Pete called me the new king of analogies as you are making this long, drawn-out analogy. Mine was better, I guess.
Your analogy, it's better because it's a quick hitter. Like
it was more concise.
Yes, exactly.
Word efficiency is one thing I look for.
Yeah.
All right. So this movie was released on July 21st, 1989. Another thing I love about this movie, I mean, it's so good and there's so much in it, but it's a compact 1 hour and 35-minute running time, which when I think about this movie, I always think it's 2 hours because I just remember it thinking it's
There's
2
so
hours.
much that goes on. I
so
thought
much
the same thing.
And they get this thing done in 1 hour and 35 minutes. It's fantastic. I had a $16 million budget and made $93 million. Huge hit. Ooh. And it has a matching 89% on Rotten Tomatoes by critics and audiences. So I don't know how it's not 90 plus, but 89 is pretty good, especially when you're talking on both.
Well, it matches the year it came out. It's just the symmetry is excellent.
Yeah.
So this movie was slated to come out the same time as Last Crusade and Batman.
Yeah, they were afraid it might be a big bomb because of the giant
Yes.
blockbusters during that summer, and it still made 93 million. So that's pretty good.
So they had a limited release on the 14th just to build a little word of mouth, and then the wide release came later, and then it just frickin' took off. I mean, 93 million. That's a blockbuster on a $16 million budget for sure.
Yeah. All right.
I
So
would
we'll
say
get into
so.
we'll get into some fun facts here, besides
Mhm.
the ones that you just kind of started on. One thing that I did not know about this movie before that I found out this time is that it is somewhat inspired by the divorce. I didn't even know Rob Reiner and Penny Marshall were married. I mean, these two
Hmm.
great directors of the time, but somewhat inspired by their divorce. So that was something new to me. And then also just one more here, quick. I kind of would have known this anyway, I guess, but Rob Reiner and Billy Crystal are just like best friends, and that's kind of
Mhm.
why he, got into the movie. Because of course we'll get to Billy Crystal, but he's not what you'd expect for the leading man in a movie like
Right.
this. But they would talk on their phone at night in bed, just like Harry and Sally do in the movie. And so there's so many parallels to real life, which they pull that in there, and again, probably why it seems like Pete said so realistic. So I got a couple more, but I'll see if you
Yep.
got any fun facts.
Go ahead, Pete.
I don't have any fun facts.
Oh, geez.
Okay. Brad mentioned that it was up for a bunch of awards, one of which got an Oscar nomination for Best Original Screenplay for Nora Ephron. Also, the first Grammy win for Best Jazz Male Vocal Performance for Connick Jr. So that, again, huge coming out for not only Meg Ryan, but Harry Connick Jr. as well with this movie. In 2022, selected to the National Film Registry by the Library of Congress. So
Yeah.
those are a couple I got. What else you got there, Brad?
A couple more. So I always knew the stories by the couples on the couch were real. You kind of assume they're real, but I always thought they were the real couples, and I just
Mhm.
learned, no, that's kind of sad. They're not. They are actors who they collected the stories, they learned the stories, but then they did use actors for the parts, which I was a little disappointing to learn that. It doesn't change much, but I always just kind of thought they were the real people and they were so cute together. So those stories
Still,
are
they did a pretty fantastic job then, because they were not. I mean, the fact that you always thought that
always.
shows how realistic that they were. So,
Mhm.
Well, in viewing it this time, I did recognize. I didn't go back into the cast to figure out what she's from, but towards the end, I think maybe the last or second to last old wife of the couch couples, she looked familiar. Like I recognized her from something, but this
They
was
look
the
familiar
first
to me from
time that
seeing-
no, she's from something else. But every other, actor that they put in those roles were, I didn't recognize any of them. So that's one of the reasons why you just think that these are, real people telling their stories, and they are wonderful meet cutes throughout the movie
Meet
to break
cutes.
up the timeline.
And that's another rom-com staple. You get the meet cute. Two
Yep.
more. One thing I hadn't learned before either. This is why it's fun to go back and get into this stuff. The original ending had them just staying friends, and that didn't stick. So I think that would have been a much different movie. It still would have been a great movie, but I mean, obviously, that changes everything about like the rom-com idea, which you've got to have that happy ending where they come together.
you had to have the payoff. I mean, that was just such a perfect payoff ending.
And his
For
speech
that
at the
whole
Oh, the
end.
movie
speech.
building
It's
up
the
to that.
speech, man. We'll get to
Yes,
that.
it's the speech.
So a
Last
wonderful way.
one. So speaking of the deli where they filmed that scene, there is a sign in that deli, right near where she faked it, that says, "Hope you had what she had."
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely great.
And it's probably
listen-
going to come up later, but I should throw in too. I mean, a lot of people know this, but the woman who makes the great line, "I'll have what she's having," is Rob Reiner's mom, which
Correct.
makes it even funnier. And
I did know that. Yes.
but not in the upcoming Super Bowl commercial.
no, that's Sydney Sweeney, which
That's Sydney
as I'm
Sweeney.
watching that, it's great. And then I didn't expect to see it like a major star coming in. That made it pretty cool too.
Yeah, nice little add on there. Listen to the heavy hitters that were up for the role of Harry, because Reiner was very nervous about working with Billy Crystal because they were, best friends. So mixing friendship
I mean,
in
now
business
they
is
had
always a
worked
great.
together on The Princess Bride, but it's more of a cameo, so it's
Yeah,
a lot different than this would be.
correct. So up for this role and turned it down. Hanks, Dreyfuss, Albert Brooks, and Michael Keaton.
Yep, I saw
I
all
mean,
those.
come on, like this. That would have. I love Billy. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to change any of the cast in this, but man, those guys would have been awesome as well.
Well, and Tom Hanks bided his time, and I mean, it all worked. He did two of the best rom-coms with Meg Ryan right after this, so.
Right.
Yep. No, for the type of comedy that this movie has, those guys are all great, and I love them. Maybe Albert Brooks, although he seems even less conventional to me than Billy Crystal almost. You need Billy Crystal. Like he
Yes.
makes this role. He just I can't imagine anybody else doing that role. The way it's written, the way you got to act, it's just perfect for him.
And he delivers the lines just perfectly, just so aloof, and he knows everything. Like everything that comes out of his mouth, he believes is true, and he just does
incorporates
it so
his own bit. There's a couple of spots he incorporates his own bit, like the impressions, like the pecan pie, which we'll get to, I'm sure. But
well, and right off the bat, you mentioned the grape. Right off the bat, he spits on the window, and he goes, and it just deadpans. I'll roll down the window. I mean, I just love that.
Not an apology. Yeah, not an apology or anything. You just, I'll roll down the window.
All right. Well, while we're at it, we'll get into the cast and crew next. So let's just start with Billy Crystal. I've already said very unconventional. He's not like the hunk. Even Tom Hanks, a lot of people thought he was unconventional. Like when Sleepless in Seattle came out, he's not. They're not Brad Pitt. They're not George Clooney. They're not like
that. Adds to the realism, though. This is somebody that you could have known in college, like that. Right. This could be us. It could be one of us. We are not the hunks.
And it's
speak for yourself.
What's needed in this movie and in this role is not the looks. I mean, he's not an ugly guy. Like he looks fine, but it's the charisma. You need the charisma, and he's so good that you don't even question it. You don't even think about it. Like, oh my God, there's Billy Crystal's in this movie. It's so natural, and it's because he creates the role perfectly. And so, I can't imagine Tom Hanks or anybody else. The movie wouldn't be as good.
No. And what adds to it as well is the undeniable chemistry that you have with Sally.
You got to have that too.
Played by Meg Ryan.
You guys have any other comments on Billy?
No, the thing with men, when you're doing a show that's over, a 12-year period, with women, change the hairstyle, they're a little bit more, you can do the clothes for the period because women tend to be a little more stylish. I did like how they just, brought in a beard, kind of in the middle to show the passage of time. So, that was kind of fun the way they just tried to, age him a little differently because he's going to wear the same stuff, sweatshirts and jeans and, things like that.
Well, so while we're at it then, so you don't really think about the age difference either, but she is only 28 in this movie and he's like 41. So, I mean, they are not in the same, age
generation
necessarily, but I think it kind of works because of that time span. So if you think it starts over 12 years, you think of her as older than she really is by the end. And you think of him maybe as the right age, or, at the beginning, he's obviously older than he should be, but it's like even those ages don't change in real life. It's like they almost balance each other out as it goes on. All right. So Meg Ryan, her face, the things she can do with her face and her mouth. And it's just,
let's not get into that.
I already said the original combination of sexy and cute, but but the thing is, she is so much more than just a pretty face. Like there's a lot of good look. There's a lot of women that have, they can do stuff like that and they could play the role. Okay. But she just made the role. And I feel like her character, it's like ahead of its time. The way she's so independent, the way she fights back against him, she doesn't settle ever. It takes forever, and then like she's a very independent, very feminist woman while being one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. At the same time, she's just awesome.
Yeah, and the way she delivers her lines. I mean, there's stuff I'll bring up as we go through the movie. Not only the delivery of the line, but the look that she gives is just phenomenal.
Difficult.
No.
Challenging, but in a good way.
All right. We only really have two other main characters. I'm going to talk about four more people. But Carrie Fisher, who you could go back to early last season when we talked about Return of the Jedi. We did a nice discussion of Carrie Fisher, and I talked about how to me she was always 40 years old. Like she's just never looked young, and that's why she was such a sex symbol in Return of the Jedi. But I just never saw her that way. And same thing here. She's not I mean, she's an average woman. She's a normal woman. She's not trying to be, majorly sexy, although she's playing like an all sexed up, like she's always hot after some guy.
She's the mistress,
very,
that we come
very
to
different
find,
from Meg.
Yeah.
But she's great. I love her. Her role's great too. But this is where I really was introduced to her because, as you know, I didn't really get into the Star Wars until a little later. So
yeah, we know.
What I like about her in this role is she seems accessible because I know her from Star Wars, but she's from a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. She's the space princess. She's shooting lasers. She's killing Jabba the Hutt. It's like she's a superhero. In those movies, but here she's just your everyday woman living in New York. Trying to work her way through the dating scene, and she is just in the best. I don't mean this in a bad way. In the best way possible. She's just a good friend and a regular person. And I think she plays it so well.
Also kind of ahead of its time because she's unabashedly all about like sex. Like she'll just go for whatever. Like she doesn't care what any of her friends think. She doesn't care about any of that.
She's Harry.
Yeah, well, she's kind of like a female version of Harry, sure. Meet Carrie Fisher.
So one of the things. Oh, go ahead, Pete.
No, I was just going to say, this was the first time I've seen her that I can remember outside of Star Wars. I never even thought of her as being anything other than Princess Leia until this movie came out. And it was just like, I remember just being blown away by how different this role was. She did come out with The Burbs, I think, a few years later. I'm not sure exactly when The Burbs with Tom Hanks came out. Oh, really?
88.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. 88, I think.
Yeah, I think she was in it, and she was. I believe she was married to Tom Hanks in the movie.
Okay.
Let me look her up here.
I don't know that at all.
Yeah, I've only seen it once or twice, but yeah, I really enjoy the awkward scene during the double date where it's like, oh, you're from New Jersey, oh, and that's it. The awkward silence was just.
Well, it's kind of like LA's Story. I'm taking a course in conversation.
You're right.
Oh, you're taking a course in conversation. Yes.
The Burbs came out the same year, 89.
It was 89.
Okay.
Yep.
I guess I
would have guessed it was way after, but I don't know. But
definitely an 80s movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, and really, I mean, Carrie Fisher, what else do you know her? I mean, she's not in a lot of stuff, really. Not a lot of big stuff. I mean, she's in this movie, and she's obviously Princess Leia, and I have a hard time naming much of anything else she was in.
Right. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think she was in Willow, right? But I'm not as familiar with that. So yeah, same for me. It's this and it's Princess Leia.
All right, then you got Bruno Kirby, who will team back up with Billy Crystal 2 years later in City Slicker. Oh, I love you, man. Bruno Kirby, he's great. He's just he's a perfect kind of friend to Harry. Like they're very similar guys. So like Carrie Fisher and Meg Ryan are very different in their roles, but Bruno Kirby and Billy Crystal are very similar as guys. They have the same interests. They kind of talk the same. And they're both just kind of out. But Bruno Kirby's much more of probably a nicer guy, like as far as like how he treat women and think of women. So he offers a little foil in that way too. Maybe Harry, you made a woman meow,
and he couldn't get off it. He said it more than once.
Right, just in the batting cage. That was hilarious. I love Bruno Kirby. How come he's not in more stuff? That's what I want.
Yeah, he's another one. Yeah, right. I mean, because those are some pretty big movies he did for that little stretch. And then...
Such a perfect character. But yeah, the perfect best friend in this role, in this movie, and the way they're able to have the conversations like they do, and I really particularly like when they're fighting over the or the wagon wheel coffee table, and that was freaking hilarious. Yeah. Yeah. And again, just another slice of real life there. Um,
I would like to
yeah.
make a correction. Carrie Fisher was not in Willow. I misspoke. I apologize for
Oh,
that.
well, I'm glad you caught that.
Yeah.
Well, we could just make shit up. I think she was in Forrest Gump. I think.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you have anything on Bruno Kirby, Gifford?
No, just like what you guys said, he's just plays that perfect, best friend. He's much more practical. He's not quite as wild and crazy.
Practical's the word. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and he's just a perfect person for Harry to bounce things off of, and he's also he's practical and a little more traditional. Like he cannot figure out how Harry and Sally can just be friends. They have that, like Pete said, with the double date, like they're walking to it and he's like, this woman can't be good looking. How can you not want to have sex with her? She's, so yeah, he's just a fun character to have in there as the best friend.
And I mean, a name like Bruno Kirby, what a great name. Like, how did this guy not, get a little bigger? So I don't know.
Right. He's named after two great Twins players from 1987.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
Bruno, yeah. Tom Bernansky, Kirby Puckett.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God his name wasn't Bruno Herr.
Oh, boy.
I said that one for Jim from Children of the 80s. Tommy.
Yeah, there you go, Jim.
All right. We got Rob Reiner as the director. And this is a director who is at the peak level. Everything about this movie is perfect. It's not just the rom-com aspect. But this is a guy who's coming off of, this is Spinal Tap, The Sure Thing, which I love. Stand By Me, The Princess Bride. Then you get this movie. Then you go to Misery. Then you go to A Few Good Men. I mean, that's over what, like 7 years or so?
Banger after banger after banger.
That is an unmatched run. And the thing that makes it so freaking impressive is it covers so many genres.
I was just going to say, none of those movies are the same.
This isn't a guy just making a bunch of great action movies or more rom-com. Like, you've got a movie about young kids. You've got the greatest fairy tale ever. You've got a college movie. You've got a biopic, satire. You've got a thriller. You've got a drama. I mean, it's everything. This guy.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about great directors. I don't think he gets mentioned enough. This stretch right here is absolutely gold. And it's, right. If I had to name a director who's if you picked any stretch of any director ever, I don't think I could find a stretch by anybody else that I personally would love more than this stretch. I mean, it's perfect for me.
And that's how he started.
Yeah, that's right off the bat.
This is Spinal Tap.
Guy named Meathead.
Is his first full length. I mean, he had something that came out in 81 that was an hour long, but this is Spinal Tap is his first movie that he directed. And that's how he started. And then it just, like you say, you start with Spinal Tap in 84, and by the time you get to A Few Good Men, it's 92. So, I mean, that's, 9 years worth of material that is wonderful.
And and he was in a great show before it. Like, I mean, it's a guy who's known as Meathead, and he turns into one of the best directors ever. And he's just he just seems like such a down to earth, funny, nice guy too. So,
right.
All right, one more. You mentioned the Oscar nomination. We got to talk about Nora Ephron, which I guess I forgot that she actually wrote this movie, because I know Nora Ephron very well from all the other movies she did, but she wrote this movie. So this is like, she set the standard, really. And I often wonder, why I like this movie so much. And this movie appeals to men and women so equally. Like, a lot of rom-coms are more geared definitely for women, which is what makes them more cheesy. And if you like that, that's great. But like, some women would be like, offended by that too. It's like, give me some credit. But this one is just, it appeals so much, almost like it was written by a man. But she's able to write the male characters so great. And then she went and backed it up, and she wrote You've Got Mail and Sleepless in Seattle. And she wrote My Blue Heaven with Steve Martin and Rick Moranis. And she wrote not a good Steve Martin movie, but Mixed Nuts. And then for Courtney Gifford, she also wrote the movie Michael, which we all know Courtney loves from that one
Right.
draft. So
Yep.
So maybe she was better at the rom-coms and not quite as diverse as Rob Reiner, but I mean, she has three of the most classic ones that everything's modeled after since then. She is the person who started it all.
Well, like you say, she's, chronicling, what Rob Reiner's going through, and conversations with him. And she based the Harry character on Rob, and then the Sally character on herself and some of their friends. So yeah, she obviously, had great access to her source material, especially for this one.
But then you still got to be a good writer and know what to do with that material.
Exactly. And how to put these conversations together and make them so quick back and forth and
yet realistic. Like a lot of times
Mhm.
when the dialogue is so good, it can be so pretentious and like, well, that's not really how people talk. Like, I love a lot of Kevin Smith movies and Clerks, but a lot of the dialogue, even though it's great, that's not how people really talk. It's, this is, this is the realistic version of it.
Right.
Okay. Well, so the movie starts with this random couple on a couch. And if you've never seen the movie, you're kind of like, well, you don't really know what's going on. And so we have these couples on this couch interspersed throughout the movie. And all of them are just these short little vignettes of stories of how they met cute.
Mm-hmm.
And so instead of just kind of working them in as we go, I asked you guys to pick out what is your favorite couple of all these couples throughout the movie, or what is your favorite line from one of these couples that stands out to you. So, Pete, what do you have about the quote real couples, even though they're actors?
Right. I was focused more on the quotes, I guess. My favorite quote was one of them. I mean, they're all older couples, so it's hard to differentiate. But the one woman that says, "I knew the way you know a good melon." she talks about the one guy. So I thought that couple was cute. I also something was nice about this the couple that got divorced and then remarried 35 years to the day after the first one. So I thought that was pretty cute.
And I chime in. I have that same line down. I knew the way you do about a good melon. It's the line before it though makes it too, because if the guy first says he went up to her and he said, "I'm Ben Small of the Coney Island Smalls," and then she says, "I knew right there. I knew the way." So, yeah. Both of them, the way they interact is just it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead.
The one I really liked, the second one that Pete mentioned, the couple that got remarried 35 years later. What I love about it is that he's just an absolute poonhound. Like he's going through saying he was with this one and with that one, and then he would forget a name, but his wife's sitting right next to him, and she remembers the woman's name that she was with or he was with, and then like who he came to that dance with, and he walked up to talk to her. So I love that she's kind of his historian and has that in her mind, like, oh yeah, I remember you were with her, you were with her, you were with her in between this 35-year span of being divorced. So I thought that one was the funniest one for me. The other one that I
file away for the end of the show tonight, the term poon hound.
I was just
you might be able to work that in to our close.
The other one I really liked was the couple that was born in the same hospital, lived in the same neighborhood in New York. Oh, well then I'll let you jump.
I didn't read all the details, but they were near each other their whole life. They never met, and they're talking. They're talking simultaneously.
Talking over each other. Yeah.
They're not even listening to each other, but they're telling the same story. And then they finally meet in Chicago, a whole nother city, and he rides up an extra 9 whole floors in the elevator, and she goes 9 whole floors, and it's such a cool story. And to think that these should be real stories, that's easily my favorite as far as like the way they met. That's awesome.
Well, and the way she repeats it, and then she looks at him and smiles, like it's such a sweet look. Yeah, it's just so nice. So yeah, those were the two that really stood out to me. Let me see. Yeah, those are the two big ones for me.
One other line I had from here, and I don't remember if it's the same couple that you just talked about, the two where the guy was the poo hound, but the one guy who went up to the woman and he's like, "What did I say?" And she goes, "What are you doing after?" That was my favorite line. What are you doing after?
Yeah.
Was that same
Actually,
or a different one?
Actually, I'm looking at this. There's one couple that was married. They met 34 years later. That's what it was.
Yeah, being near each other their whole life, right?
Well, no, this was the one that was the second couple on the couch, and they met 34 years later after they had that's what it was. They met when they were 16, and then they met 34 years later, and she repeated the line at the end twice. She goes, "He looked exactly the same."
Exactly the same.
He looked exactly the same. I mean,
the way
that's
that
so
she says
sweet.
it's so
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, she cracks too. Exactly the same. I mean, that's where you feel like it's the real people, because like that, the way that's delivered is like truly feels like she's talking about her husband right there. But
with real love in her heart. Right.
Yeah. Good actor. All right. Well, we're going to run through this movie. Instead of just doing our favorite scenes, I mean, there's so many. I'm just going to go through and kind of shout out, or instead of doing a synopsis, just one scene at a time, and we'll just chime in whatever you can. So one of my favorite scenes in this whole movie is the opening scene. And I consider the opening scene from the beginning till they get to New York and he walks away, which, by the way, why does she drop him off there and where the hell is he going? It's beautiful because you got the big arc, and it's obviously a great shot. But it's like, that seems like a really weird place to just drop somebody. Anyway, I digress.
Right. I love how he has two bags and a baseball bat. Yeah. That's what he moves with.
So in this first scene, he's saying goodbye to his current girlfriend, and he's going to ride to New York with her. She's got a whole map out of how often they're going to each drive, where they can stop. And basically, it's just a dialogue. I mean, they're in the car, and then they're in that one restaurant, and it's just that dialogue, but it sets up the dynamic perfectly. He's so contrarian. Everything she says, he shoots down or argues against. We learn about how he doesn't feel like she's ever had good sex yet, because you can't have good sex with somebody named Sheldon.
Mm-hmm. He not a humping and pumping. Humping and pumping isn't his game.
Well, yeah, when we get to the
Wonder Slug.
Humping and pumping ain't Sheldon's strong suit. It's like he's baiting her all the way. He's acting like he doesn't care. She'll say something, and then she'll think he wants to say or hear it, and he's like, "I don't care. Whatever. Don't talk." And then he'll just sit there in silence, and she goes, "Well, if you must know," and so she'll tell him everything, but he just baits her. He doesn't actually tell her to say anything. So it's all dialogue, and it just sets up this brilliant, perfect dialogue. I've already mentioned "I'll roll down the window." You've mentioned "humping and pumping" and the Sheldon the Wonder Schlong. So 3 of my quotes have already been said from here. I got one other one. It's after she thinks he makes a pass at her in the restaurant, and she's all mad, and she's like, "Well," and he goes, "I'll take it back." She's like, "You can't take it back. It's already out there." And he goes, "Oh, what are we supposed to do? Call the cops. It's already out there." The way he says that is just perfect.
Yeah.
He does everything that you would never do if you're trying to impress a woman at all.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like anybody in that situation would be right. Anybody in that situation, like if you had to ride with Meg Ryan across the country, you'd be nice to her, wouldn't you?
I would.
Well, I believe that he has stuff that works for him, because this is what I will say. I watched this movie on DVD. Yeah. So I watched the deleted scenes or the extended scenes, and there is a scene from this restaurant, and he's, of course, in the conversation of how she hasn't had good sex. And he asked her, "How many people have you had sex with?" And again, like Brad said, she's not going to say it. And then, of course, he waits, and she says that she's had sex with 2 people. And he goes, "Oh, okay." And they get into how many people he's had sex with. I think she said 1 to 3, 4 to 7, or 8 to 10. And then what's that?
I don't remember any of this. I don't remember her saying she has had sex with 2 people.
This was on a deleted. It was on a deleted scene.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I totally spaced out on that.
So they get to. She goes, "Well, was it between 10 and 100?" He goes, "Yeah." And she goes, is it closer to 10 or 100? And he sits there for 20 seconds and he's like looking and he's thinking, and her face is just getting more and more disgusted. And finally he comes back and looks at her. He goes, it's closer to 10. But he really had to think if it was closer to 100.
Do the math in his head.
Right. So this guy has a game that works for him, and this might be it.
Or he
that's
says,
the thing.
that's
I mean, he's not trying to impress her like Pete says. In fact, he's so detached from everything that it's like he's actively not interested in pushing her away. But it probably on some people that does work. It's that whole hard to get thing, even if you're not. All of a sudden you realize, wait a minute, you're interesting, and you can't. It's like George in Seinfeld and leaving things behind, and then the person's all of a sudden like, wait a minute,
Costanza. So I mean, he knows what he's doing, and again, he just doesn't care. And first off, let's start with the woman that he leaves in Chicago. She's nothing to sneeze at. Holy cow, is she gorgeous?
And she's all over him too.
Yeah, so he's got some game for sure.
All right, so we've said they walk away. They're never going to see each other again, right? So 5 years later, we jump ahead. They're in an airport. Oh, what? You got something?
I got another line from this scene when he's explaining how a man can't be friends with a woman who's attractive.
They also bring up the whole men and women can't be friends. I should have said that.
The most important line in the movie, probably.
Right. And so she goes, so a man can be friends with a woman that he finds unattractive. And he goes, nah, you pretty much want to nail them too.
Yes, that's right. And also, this is where we learn her ordering tendencies with food too. So we got to throw that in there too.
Yeah, they lay out quite a bit in this first scene, just their personalities, and
they talk about Casablanca, which comes back again later, and how and it's funny because they both basically flip flop later in the movie.
Yep.
The entire viewpoint. You got to remember back. I mean, that's that great writing where it's all connected. All right.
The other thing,
any other lines there? Or
no.
The other thing I wanted to mention is she said it's an 18-hour drive from University of Chicago to Manhattan. No, it's 12 and a half hours. So I don't know what they're doing for the other 5.5.
She's factoring restaurants.
Stops. Yeah.
Or maybe not 5.5 hours worth.
Also, they never stopped at a hotel or anything.
This is like 1979 or something, right? They're probably not
77
or lower. They're probably not traveling as fast. I don't know. That's
still not going to take 50% longer.
It's a lot more realistic than driving all day and night from Chicago to St. Louis and getting stuck in the middle of St. Louis in the middle of the night.
Yes.
Like a vacation.
Yes.
Okay. 5 years later at the airport. So he's walking by in the airport and you think he recognizes her, but it turns out he recognizes his friend who is currently with Joe, who's currently with Sally. And he doesn't really recognize her, but she does, and she's panicked and can't believe, thankful that he doesn't know her. But then we go on to the plane, and of course he's just sitting right behind her, and he's like checking her out, and then he realizes it's her, and then
she orders a drink.
She orders a drink, so he knows who it is, and then he's like, did we ever? And he does the little punch sign.
We get that twice in the movie. Yeah. That the punch that he uses to
so the guy sitting by
sex.
Offers up the seat, which she doesn't care about, but he of course takes it right away. So now they're gonna
no, and he's like, yeah, okay.
They reunite on the plane, and they don't really get any closer. This is where they continue to talk about friends, and we learn that he doesn't even remember saying that. So they're on the escalator afterwards, and he's like, well, there is an exception. If both couples are in a current relationship, then the threat of sex doesn't exist and they can be friends. And then he thinks about it like, no, that is actually not true. Because then the other couples like, why do you want to be friends with a woman? And which is also real too, though. That's as crazy as his views are. I mean, they're not wrong either.
That's pretty much exactly right.
So again, they walk away and pretty much leave each other like, okay, she is not impressed by him again.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of good lines in this part.
But
personality hasn't changed, but he is engaged now.
Yeah, right. He acts the same, right? But he is a different guy as far as like the viewpoint of he's going to get married, which she can't believe.
Well, and him on the moving walkway is, again, a perfect combination of the writing and his delivery, because he's basically just having a stream of consciousness moment. I mean, he makes his statement and then immediately talks himself out of it, and she doesn't even get a word in. Like, he just keeps going and then comes all the way back around and goes, "Oh, never mind. That's not an amendment that can be made."
She's just annoyed anyway by him. She really doesn't care about any of these thoughts he has.
Well, and in this scene on the plane is one of those where, like I said earlier, not only how she delivers a line, but the facial expressions. When he tells her, "I'm getting married," and she goes, "Really? Who is she?" Like, the disgust in her voice and the look on her face of, who is a person that's willing to marry you, is so wonderful, the way she puts that together.
He doesn't do anything to change her mind either. During
No.
like, he's still that same annoying guy.
Yeah.
So
Mhm. Yeah.
one of my favorite lines in this part that's always been a favorite is when they're on the plane and they're talking about like how you meet up, and I just love the description of, you do the white man's overbite, and he dances and puts his the way a white guy would dance. That's
Yep.
just such a brilliant throwaway line. I love it. Do you have any women friends? Just friends? She says that to Joe. So she brought up the men and women thing to Joe before she gets on the plane. And he's like, sure. And she's like, well, do you have any women friends? Just friends? He's like, no.
No.
But I will get one if it is important to you.
Yeah.
Anything else there?
No, that's all I got for that section.
All right, we jump ahead 5 more years now, and now we're all settled in New York. So now we're kind of in like the main part of the movie. Time will pass, but we're not going to jump ahead so much. This is where we meet Carrie Fisher, who's Marie, and we meet Bruno Kirby, who is Jess. Sally has just broken up with Joe, so she is going through a very rough time. Harry, we learn, is getting divorced. And this is great because you hear the story of it while they're at a Giants game doing the wave. And as a kid, this is like the funniest part of the movie, how they stop talking just to get up and do the wave like every 2 minutes. So they're not meeting yet, but then they do meet at the bookstore. And eventually they actually connect. They go to dinner.
Well, hold on. You left out I had a good line written down.
Well, we're going to come back to that. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
I was just
synopsizing
synopsizing this part.
Yeah, no. All right. I'm sorry.
All right,
I just like the line while they're at the Giants game. He goes, marriages don't break up on account of infidelity. It's a symptom that something else is wrong. And then the response is, well, that symptom is fucking my wife.
That sounds brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
But they do meet, and they kind of bond over the whole "we just broke up" thing. And this is where the pacing of the movie, it's a short movie, really, and there's so much time passing, but the character development is perfect. Like, you don't feel like it's rushed. You don't feel like it doesn't work. The pacing is perfect. And this is the point now where they actually are going to become friends. And at first you think, well, they're going to like each other, but I mean, Harry makes no interest in her now. And so they're just going to be friends. And they kind of bond over the whole, we're single and we got dumped thing.
Right. And one of the lines I love here is Harry goes, "You may be the first attractive woman that I don't want to have sex with in my life." And Sally just comes back, "That's wonderful, Harry." But
as you watch that, you feel like they should like each other, and it looks like she is intrigued by him, but he so quickly like shoots it down that he's not interested, that then she just lets that go right away. Like, you get the feeling she does like him in a way, like she could be attracted to him, but he's just not accessible at all.
Well, and she opens up to him. She really kind of lays out, like, this is why it didn't work with Joe and I. Like, the whole thing about we could, take off at a moment's notice and have sex on the kitchen floor. And then she comes back in her story and says, but we never go to Rome on a moment's notice, and we never had sex on the kitchen floor, and she opens up to him quite a bit.
By the way, that's what he goes back to after she tells all the other stuff about the I spy a family and whatever, and then he just goes back into the kitchen floor.
Right. But this is a part in the movie now where Harry's had the wind taken out of his sails. He's not as glib and so cocksure of himself all the time now, because he had his heart ripped out and stomped on by a woman. So he's always been dark. He always reads the last page of a book when he starts reading it in case he dies before he can finish it. He's still dark, but he's not as confident in himself as maybe he once was. So he's not quite as just, quick, to comment on this, that, or the other, because he has been wrong in his life in a major way. He married a woman that never loved him. So
I got 3 lines from this part that I love. So Pete named a great one, but at the football game, I love just the guy that's wearing the "Don't fuck with Mr. Zero" shirt. And then Mr. Zero knew. Mr. Zero knew.
Yeah.
This is a very minor line, but Carrie Fisher or Marie says to Sally, "Someone is staring at you in personal growth," which is funny because it's the name of the section, but also you think, like he's growing.
Yes.
That's my kind of line right there. And then this is kind of a turning point in the movie. So, they're really connecting, but like she's talking about so many things he said that were so dumb and so rude when they first met. And he's like, "What's the statute of limitations on apologies?" And like, that's such a great line. And that's where you truly see that Harry is, a different guy now. And I love that.
Right. One of the things I like about this is, you get to know Marie. This is the first time we see Marie. And she, of course, is the other woman in a relationship. She's complaining that, the man she's
never gonna
seeing,
leave.
Yep, is always buying different things for his wife, and she's offended by this, that he's never going to leave her. And when it comes out that Joe and Sally have broken up, she reaches right into her bag. She's got a Rolodex of men that she can look up. And, of course, she mentions a name and they say, well, that guy's married. And, it brings up another name. She goes, you tried to set me up with him 6 years ago. Like, it's just great. She has this Rolodex of available men.
All right. Before I go on, Pete, any comment?
Nothing to add there, no.
All right, so now we're getting into the meat of the movie here. So now they are friends. This is where we see them watching TV in bed together, and we get these intercuts with them. Like they're doing things alone, and then they go back. We see her working out. But they're talking in bed, and they show like what each of them individually does throughout the day while we listen to their conversation in bed. A great way to put all that together. And you also see how they've been spending a lot of time together during the day. I love this scene. This is one of my favorite scenes in the movie. And it ends with him showing her how she orders while they're talking on the phone. Like she doesn't get that she's high maintenance. And he explains that and explains her order. And she says, "I like the way I like it." And he's like, "Yeah, high maintenance." The movie ends. I think they're watching Casablanca here.
Yep.
Right.
And then he's just gonna moan himself to sleep, and they shut off the side of the screen, and that's so funny because like I'll go in bed and moan like that too. Like I totally relate to that. So basically, this whole chunk now though is showing how they are friends and the friendship is growing, and there's really no romantic interest. Like they're dating other people and they're just hanging out and helping each other.
Right, and they're actually encouraging. They're actually encouraging the other to go out and date, and
they're giving each other advice. Like, here's how men think, here's how women think, and this can help you out. But I really think that I love that scene because that's something I feel like you'd never see today. Because just talking on a phone, just mindlessly, it's so subdued. And people are texting each other. They're looking at their phones nowadays. You would never just have a conversation like that anymore, which is what I love about it.
It's quiet. That whole scene is just fantastic. This is also the part of the movie where you have the autumn scene, which is very famous. It's the cover of the CD too. The leaves are just blazing orange. The clothes she's wearing are so cool. That's just iconic and beautiful. But at that time, she's talking about this dream she has where the faceless guy rips off her clothes. She varies it by
well, sometimes I'm wearing different clothes.
Yeah. Right. This is where we have, you alluded to earlier, the funny voices. Today, I have decided we are going to talk like this. Waiter, there's too much pepper in my paprikash.
This is where I think she really starts.
Pecan pie.
I think she really starts to fall for him here because he's just so charming and funny, and that's what she starts to see in him. And that scene takes it to a little bit of a next level, although not quite yet, but it does
Sure,
elevate
but
their
it's setting
friendship.
it up. It's that pacing that
Yeah.
it's getting there. They have a scene where they're in his apartment laying out this big rug, and it's just this normal conversation. This is the batting cage scene with him and Jess, and I love how he yells at the kid that he's got a whole stack of quarters here. This is the restaurant scene with the fake orgasm. I mean, this is the scene everybody would think about. And my favorite part of that, besides the line at the end and everything, when she starts to get going, there's this one guy right behind her that just turns around and looks. I mean, that guy is so funny the way he looks at her there, and I just love that. So I got some quotes, but like this scene covers all that stuff. So
yeah,
what do you got on
right?
that?
Yeah, I like this scene where they're laying out the big rug and they're just talking about he went on this date and he says something about how she went to Michigan State. So now I start thinking about Helen again, and she goes, she went to Michigan State. No, she went to Northwestern, but they're both Big Ten schools. Like, right. I mean, again, the stream of consciousness with him is just so amazing. I just love it.
It illustrates how hung up that he still is on her, or was on her at the time, because it's like he goes out of his way to make that connection, and so that's what that's said to me.
Yeah. And then of course,
go ahead, Give.
I was just gonna, the part where they're at the batting cages and he talks about taking a woman to another place that wasn't human. I made a woman meow, and Jess goes, she actually meowed, and then he says a couple other things, and just again, you made a woman meow. Like he's so hung up, he can't get past that comment.
He gets into that argument with the kid. Was two, was not, or two.
I got a whole stack of quarters, and I was here first.
And then what were you talking about maturing again?
This is that darkness about him, though. Reading the back page and everything. That's still there. The way he's hung up on her, because he's talking on the phone and he says that he doesn't feel well, and she's like, "Well, how do you mean?" "Oh, it's probably just a 24-hour tumor that's going around." And of course, I'll Have What She's Having by Rob Reiner's mom is in this part. So we've already said all the other ones that I have. You got any other lines there?
I liked when she started the whole thing and how he's so confused. Like he's like, "Are you okay? Like, what's going on here?"
Yes.
And then he starts figuring out what she's doing.
And he just starts looking around.
Right. And this the whole orgasm scene was Meg Ryan's idea. So they were trying to figure out, they're talking about this and they're saying, how do you know that whether or not she's faked, and she said, well, I'll just do it. Like, I'll just fake an orgasm.
I was wondering that. How would you even talk her into it?
Yeah. that she's like, well, I'll just do it. And they're like, okay. So, I mean, obviously it's a, massively, popular. Everybody knows that scene. And then it capped off beautifully by, Reiner's mom.
And then when she finishes, she just shrugs it off and continues to eat her sandwich.
Yep.
The way she immediately finishes and just is back to normal. It's like she was in another body for a second there. That's hilarious. And she just smiles at him like, take that.
The other thing I read about that scene was Reiner's mom came up with that line. That wasn't written.
I'll have what she's having. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So she came up with one of the greatest lines in movie history. I mean, that's absolutely amazing.
It showed, as far as the character, Meg Ryan's character, it showed how she changed over time, because you think back to the first restaurant scene where she was so prim and proper and ordering her food her way and everything, but totally different person now.
You would never,
because when they walked into that restaurant, like the music faded and she was arguing and she made some comment about, I've had plenty of good sex. And then she realizes everybody heard it and she is just mortified. And now, to Pete's point, she's willing to, simulate a sex act, basically, in the middle of a packed deli and be fine with it. Just go back to eating her lunch.
The next scene is not really much. I mean, I just love this scene, though. It's a Christmas and New Year's the first time through. So you have the Ray Charles Winter Wonderland version, which is also an Elf. I love it. The New York scenes, more great scenery. I love how they go get a tree and carry it together. So my wife and I, we lived in our first townhome, and the first Christmas we had, they were selling trees at the Boy Scouts were selling them at the Y, which is like a half mile up the road. And we went up and we bought that tree and we walked it home together, and we just thought that was so
Oh.
cute. And so I love that, and I love. I mean, it was inspired by when Harry Met Sally. But this is to me. So Pete, you were a little ahead of that maybe, but this is where I wrote down. This is where they first start to really appear to fall for each other.
All right.
So pretty close to the same time. But yeah,
Mhm.
I also had that in here that you start to see that there's probably more going on, even if they're not willing to admit it. This is where it's starting
The
to.
dance
Well,
on
let
New
me-
Year's Eve.
Oh, yeah,
where
the
they're
dance
cheek
on
to
New
cheek.
Maybe I'll rephrase what I said and say this is where the pecan pie scene. That's where she first was charmed by him.
Yeah, and then we get him at the New Year's Eve thing where they're cheek to cheek and you can see his face. So yeah, you put them together and you can tell that there's more going on.
Well, and when they rush out, they're like, oh, because they're feeling awkward now because they've been dancing cheek to cheek. They both feel it. It's not just him with the blank stare. She was also like, oh my God, what's happening? And they run out onto the balcony right at New Year's. And, they see everybody else hugging and kissing. And they kind of look at each other sheepishly. And then they finally just go, you know what? We're friends. We can do a peck on the lips. It's okay. And they snap back into their relationship of, okay, yeah, here's a nice hug, quick little peck, and we're back to where we were.
So then they try to set up Marie and Jess. So they got their two best friends and they try to put them together. And this is such an awkward, funny scene because these two could not be less interested in Harry or Sally, who they're trying to. So I should rephrase it. They're not trying to set up Marie and Jess. They're trying to set up them with each other.
Right.
Be with Harry and Jess with Sally. And it's just so funny. And then he makes that line that he wrote, and Marie quotes his line, and he's like,
Yep.
I wrote that. And then, they ask if it's okay if they can maybe later on make a move on these people because it doesn't look like Harry and Sally are interested. And we're like, yeah, sure, but not tonight.
Right.
But the way he gets the cab and she just jumps in after him is just, that's hilarious.
It's so great. Yeah. Yeah, because Jess is sitting there talking to Sally, and Sally kind of disagrees with something he said. He goes, "Well, no big deal. It's just what I base my whole life on." He's just so disgusted. And you would think like these two are writers. They've both written for the Post. Yeah, they would have that in common, but they just don't jive at all. And neither do Harry and Marie. And then all of a sudden it just clicks for Jess and Marie, and they are smitten. And they needed to hit that cab about as fast as they possibly could, And
they're just left standing there like, what the fuck?
Right.
All right. Now we move ahead 4 months. So even though they showed a glimmer, nothing happened. 4 months later, and this is another one of my favorite scenes where they're shopping for a wedding gift or a housewarming gift. And we get to the karaoke machine. And I love the karaoke machine part.
Yes.
And then we go to their new apartment with the Roy Rogers coffee table that you brought up earlier. So I just love the way he grabs the mic and puts his leg up on there, and chicks and geese and ducks, better scurries. That's so funny.
Well, and then she joins in, and her voice is horrible. And of course, he sees Helen, and she's just still going, like she's oblivious. She's reading the lyrics and doing her thing, and Harry's sitting there just dumbfounded, seeing Helen for the first time. And she's like, yeah, and she's like, "Is it my voice? My voice is terrible." I'm so, she's so freaking cute in that scene. It's almost, yeah.
Well, here again, we get into a moment where, just like at the beginning of the movie, he's hung up on somebody's name, right? It's because his name is Ira.
Ira. I'm singing Surrey with the fringe on top in front of Ira. Right. That's always been one of my favorite lines in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah. So they get through that, but then they got to go deal with Jess and Marie. It's annoying to be around a new couple, and they're arguing over the coffee table, and it leads to Harry really breaking down after seeing whatever her name. What is her name? Is
Helen.
Because he goes off. Sally fights back like she ain't gonna take this. Like she didn't do anything wrong, and he hugs her and cries, and he says, "I'm sorry again." Harry's good at apologizing. There's 2 really good apology scenes.
He gets better.
So now they get in a big fight, but it doesn't last long. They're such good friends. They just move on from it.
You and me, bro.
All right, now maybe the most quotable scene in the whole movie is where they are now at Jeffrey's again, but with a bigger group, and they both have dates there, and they're playing Pictionary or Lose or Draw or whatever you want to call it at the time. Um, Mick Jagger has a baby, baby fish mouth, baby spinning up, Exorcist baby. Yes, sir, that's my baby. No, sir, don't mean maybe. I mean, it's just one after another, and Jess is so mad. He can't believe that.
Well, all she's doing is drawing arrows. That's all she's doing.
Yeah.
That's how you get stuff. You think you have a good drawing, and you don't know what to draw, so you're like, it's right.
This.
That's real.
Yeah, but baby fish mouth is sweeping the nation.
Yeah. I know, but the kind of one you kind of forget is he says that. He says, baby fish mouth sweeping the nation, and he goes, I hear him talking.
I hear him. Yes.
I hear him talking. So that's a great scene because you see they're trying to move on with two new couples, and it's not working out. And Jess and Marie are like, "Why don't you two just get together?" And now that leads us to the big turning point in the movie. This is where Harry's always been upset because he broke down about Helen, but Sally has never seemed upset about this long relationship with Joe and how it ended.
Right.
So she learns Joe is getting married, and she has her breakdown, and she asks him to come over, and it leads to them having sex. And this is another good direction, I think, because when they first kiss and everything, like there's no sound, there's no music at all, and you're totally zoned in on, holy shit, this is happening. We're supposed to think this is a big deal. And it just really emphasizes this monumental moment because these two aren't supposed to do this, and then they do. Let me just wrap this up. So then the phone calls the next morning with Jess and Marie. This is also amazing because you've got 4 people talking in 2 different conversations. The way it's cut together, it's just, brilliant.
Yep.
They go out to dinner afterwards, but they're not talking. You can tell how awkward and weird it is. Even more so with Jess and Marie getting married. So they don't talk much anymore. And even though they said they can move on from it, it's not good. And they get in a big fight at the wedding reception. So before we get to the final scene, that's where we're at there. I already mentioned one of my favorite lines. I'm going to be 40. And he goes,
when?
In 8 years.
No, he goes, I'm going to be 40. When? Eventually. In 8 years.
But it's just sitting there.
It's just sitting there. Yeah.
A good laugh out loud one here is she said, Charlie Chaplin had babies when he was 73 because it's different for a man. And he goes, just right away. Yeah, but he was too old to pick them up. And she's crying and she laughs and she's crying again because that line is just so quick.
Well, and her acting in this is so perfect because she is all over the place. She's trying to talk, then she's crying. She takes, one swipe with a tissue and throws it and keeps walking, and she's just boom, 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 and she goes from kind of crying to all out crying and then back again. I mean,
laughing.
She is having an absolute roller coaster ride in that scene, and she's amazing in it.
And then after they do it, she's so calm and she's so happy while you see how he's freaked out.
He's just,
and the differing, reactions is completely opposite because she thinks, okay, well, this is it now. And he doesn't know what to do.
Did you happen to notice how much deeper her voice was after she finally had some sex? Because she hasn't had sex in this whole time since her and Joe, because they had a comment about, you need to go out and bang somebody. Like, this might have been the first time since Joe. And she is just so relaxed and her voice is so much deeper. It's like, ooh, hello. I didn't think she could get hotter, but all of a sudden she is.
No, I totally noticed that.
Yeah.
At the wedding, this is also great when they're in the middle of a fight too. And Jess does the toast to Harry and Sally. If Marie and I had found either one of them remotely attractive, we would not be here today. They're in a giant fight and just rub the salt in like you two just suck.
Well, here's the thing though. You can only say that to your absolute best friends.
Yes. Oh, it's fun.
Yeah.
But they're not in the mind. They're not in the mindset to take the joke at that time. Like they would think that's funny, but not at that moment.
They didn't know. Right. I mean, he didn't know, and he's giving a speech. So.
Oh no.
Going back to the Sharper Image store, after Ira and Helen leave, I just love it. Like he's so rattled at this point. Words are coming out of his mouth, and he goes, "Her legs looked heavy. She must be retaining water. Believe me, the woman saved everything." I mean, like, he wasn't trying to be mean, but he's just nitpicking because he's got to try to get back to the higher ground, but he's absolutely drowning at this moment in time.
All right, so if you're ready, we'll go to the final part now here. So you got one more?
I got one more. It's after Harry had said, like, soak in these moments. He's talking to Jess and Marie, and you guys are going to be fighting over whose plate this is. Put your names in your books right now, because it's all going to come to an end, and you guys are going to split up, and you're going to have to split all your stuff up. And at the end of all that, Marie looks,
this is mine and that's yours.
Yes, exactly. Marie looks at Jess and she goes, I want you to know,
yes,
I will never want that wagon wheel coffee table.
That's a great one.
And then at the end of it, after Harry and Sally have their fight outside, here comes Jess walking that wagon wheel out the door and don't say a word.
I was being nice.
Right.
So you can see there's about another year that goes here because we go back to the holidays again to close out. We see Christmas, but this time they're both alone. She's trying to carry a tree home alone.
Yeah.
He's constantly leaving messages on her phone. It's kind of like Swingers, but they're funny.
He bought the karaoke machine.
He's singing through the karaoke machine. She will not answer. She's not interested. She's so mad. And then it becomes New Year's Eve again. He's just wandering around at night. And then it's just the final part. He starts running to that party where he knows she is. You see her. She's got a guy that she's supposed to be, but she's not interested. She wants to leave. And then you get to that final speech. And I mean, you could tell the whole thing, but I love when you realize you want to spend the rest of your life with someone, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible. And that's after he named all these things he loves about her. And like, she's so standoffish, but she can't turn him away.
Even though
I want to hate you, Harry, but I can't.
I hate you.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. It's such a sweet ending. And like you say, the original ending was them just staying friends. But man, when you change it to that with that speech and the run and them getting to it's just such a wonderful way to wrap it up. One thing I will say is, again, because Seinfeld was on the brain, this reminded me of like George or Jerry when they would have their moment of reflection out on the pier, and then they would take off running because they made a decision. Yeah. Like, this is Harry. He finally realized that he wanted to spend the rest of his life with Sally, so he just takes off running.
Quotes or parts there, Pete, at the end, any?
Nothing more. I thought it was good. You got it.
Yeah, for me it was the last speech there at the end
and then it ends with the two of them on the couch that all the other couch. We got to have that final scene where they're on the couch talking about how they met, which is perfect bookend closure because we've seen those throughout. So you got to finish with that too, and they're still in love.
Yeah.
All right. So I was looking at like either reviews or things, and I went on. Every once in a while, I get on a Reddit thing and I found two just quick blurbs about this movie that I loved. And even more so now, because like Pete brought up the realism of this movie, and that's kind of what it talks about. So to close this out, I thought these kind of really sum up a lot of things that I thought, even though I've already said them all. This person said, I watched this movie for the first time during COVID. So, new to them. And I felt nothing about this movie couldn't occur today. You know how many times we talk about how, like, if you had a cell phone, like half the Friends episodes, they wouldn't exist.
Yep.
And she's right. Like this movie, she said that it could happen basically the same way if the characters had cell phones. And that was one of the biggest things that she loved about it. She also said the outfits were insanely stylish and it's a whole vibe. And I mean, I thought that was a really good, but I love how I said it was timeless. That's a great example of it because it wouldn't change much if it was set today. You could have almost the same thing.
That's true.
Right.
The other one is, this person said, it's not just a great rom-com, it is one of the greatest films, period. The screenplay is airtight, the acting is spot on, the direction is perfect for the material. This is one of the films that every film lover should watch. And I agree. So I think that's a great ending right there.
Yep. I believe it was selected to AFI's 100 laughs or 100 movies with 100 laughs. It's number 23. All time. I mean, it's way up there. It's like you say, it's not just a rom-com.
Top 5.
It's a great comedy, standalone comedy.
And that's Nora Ephron and Rob Reiner should not go unmentioned along with Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan here.
Right. Yep.
Okay, well, if you guys don't have anything else, we are going to draft since we're talking. So it's Valentine's Day this week, guys.
Yeah.
So Valentine's Day maybe it's not that big of a deal for us anymore, but it still is that
What?
day of.
Wow. Brad, I know
And-
you and Kim hate Valentine's Day. You say that
Yeah,
every
we're not
year.
big fans.
It's like, yeah,
There's
we
no-
hate it.
There's no trees to go walk a half a mile from the Y to their house.
Maybe she's sending you. She's waiting for you to do something special for her, and you never do. She's just saying that she doesn't like it, and you're like, yeah, I hate it too.
Well, this is his gift to her, talking about a movie they both love.
Hate it. It's like, what's the point? We don't,
It's a
It's a
what's
big
the point?
holiday.
It's just about love.
And that is why we did When Harry Met Sally first this month, so it could tie
That's
into
right.
that theme of love. And we are now going to draft the best couples in movies.
Yeah.
So not TV, just movies. So that's the only criteria. Like you can define a couple, I guess, and how they're great any way you want. I tried to stick for the most part to kind of your romantic comedy types, but some might not quite be in there.
Right.
And so we're going to see what we come up with. Who are the best couples for us in film? So I'm going to go first, followed by Pete and Gifford. And I was going to pick Harry and Sally because, I mean, obviously I've just talked about it, but I changed my mind. I'm going to pick a couple that I think is going to for sure snipe one of you, especially Gifford. I'm sure you're thinking of them, right? I hope you are. Because this couple, even though it's not, your typical romantic comedy and everything, they have been so important for my life throughout a series of movies, and they are so perfect together. Clark and Ellen Griswold.
Damn it!
See, that's why I picked them first.
I thought
That was
you
one of my
should-
top
you
three.
Might be, that's for sure.
That's who I thought I would end up with, honestly.
Well, you
I
would have.
thought they might get overlooked because they were.
I thought they could, but I figured they won't with you. That's why I moved them to the top, and they're fitting. They're perfectly fitting of the top spot.
Because it is February, we got Valentine's coming up. I do need to mention when I was making this list, Courtney was the one that came up with this one because I was just going from memory. So my beloved wife.
This might be that one that you always forget that big
Yep.
one. I thought it's possible he'll actually forget them, but
Yep. Well,
Courtney-
I didn't have them on my list yet. My lovely wife made sure that I got them on there.
that's a Valentine's Day thing. She completes you.
She does.
All right, Pete, you have the second pick.
Fine, I'll take the easy one then. Harry and Sally.
You got it. Okay. See, I was hoping that somehow they'd slip to my second pick, but
No freaking way.
it was fun to snipe. Okay, Gifford, you had three. So who's your next one?
I got my number one. It's a movie about true love. I'm
Buttercup.
taking Wesley and Buttercup.
Damn it!
So these are my
I thought
top.
they would get
three,
forgotten
too.
about too.
Those were my top three couples right there.
Yep, those are my top three as well.
True love.
Yep. And you can't pass up perfect breasts, so that helps.
There's a shortage of perfect breasts.
There are a shortage.
Be a pity to damage yours.
All right, now we can get into it because now everything's.
It is a
I'm
free
glad I
for all
got.
now.
Yep.
And by the way, so just to throw it out there, we did The Princess Bride last year too, so that's a great episode because we love that movie just as much as When Harry Met Sally.
Well, and we covered 4 of the vacation movies.
We have all 4 vacation movies covered. Yes.
Well, yeah, and then they were in the 5th with the reboot or the newer vacation movies. So they do cover 5
So
films.
we covered all 4 vacation
Right.
movies.
Yes, there you go. All right, what do you got, Brad? Who's
Okay,
number
so now
2?
I don't know what to do. See, the thing is, I probably lost a vote there because Harry and Sally probably should have been the number 1, but it was fun. I'm gonna pick.
no. Clark and Ellen's great.
I don't really. You're right. The top 3 are just stone cold top 3 for me.
Yep.
My number 4 is one that's more for me. I don't think I should pick it yet. I don't even know if I will pick it. There's so many to choose from. Okay, well, I'm gonna go with. No, you're not gonna pick that one either. So I'm not gonna pick
Just
that
pick
one.
already.
There's so much thought that goes into this thing. All right, I'll pick them. So, well, no, I'll pick mine. L.A. Story is my favorite movie ever, right,
Damn
guys?
it!
I'm picking
That's what I was
Harris
gonna pick.
Telemacher
Yep.
and Sarah. Oh, were you going to pick that, Pete?
That was gonna be my next pick.
Okay, well then that's even more fun.
I
was not gonna think about that.
I figured I could get that later, so I wasn't going to pick it. But it's my favorite movie, and Steve Martin's my favorite guy, and they were truly married at the time. Unfortunately, they didn't stay married. So Harris and Sarah, that's my second pick.
that was one I left off my list. I thought of them, but I'm like, that's not a
If
huge
you're not
movie
as
for me.
with it,
Yep.
Pete would be much more likely.
So I'm not gonna put it. So I was not gonna take it because I figured, okay, one of you guys will have them. Go ahead, Pete.
What you got as a backup then, Pete?
Now it gets hard. I will go. My goodness, there's so many of them.
It's hard now.
Roy Hobbs, and Iris Gaines from The Natural.
Ooh, nice.
Okay,
I loved that movie, of course, and how inspirational she was to him, and how much.
That's
how much
Barbara
she
Hershey,
meant.
right?
It's Glenn Close.
Oh, Glenn Close. There's see, and I know the movie, and I've seen it so many times, but I haven't seen it for so long. I can't remember who's who. You got Kim Basinger. You got so many.
Kim Basinger's the one that shoots him in the beginning.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't her. Okay, so it's Glenn Close in The Natural.
Yeah, I had to look up the character's name. What I found is Iris.
Okay, Roy and Iris.
All right, so you guys didn't take any of the next ones I had, so now I got to figure out. I'm like Brad over here.
See, it's tough.
Jesus.
See, and I'm gonna do what Brad did on his pick. I think I could leave this one.
Be true to yourself.
But yep, I have to take this. I'm taking Johnny and Baby from Dirty Dancing.
I had that on my list.
Oh,
I knew you would.
As much as you talk about that movie, that seems like a perfect choice.
Yeah, I had to take that.
You're going for my wife there as your audience, and
hey,
that's the second week in a row. I think you've gone with the Dirty Dancing answer.
Right.
My next one is one you guys aren't going to pick, but it's such a couple that I loved watching. And the thing is, they don't end up together. And this movie, it's a rom-com, it's a musical, it's everything. And everybody wants them to end up together at the end, but they don't. And I actually loved the way it ends. But even though they don't end up together, their relationship is so lovely throughout the movie, and it works. And I love Sebastian and Mia in La La Land. And of course, I love Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone. So the characters are enhanced.
So hold on a second. You have L.A. Story and La La Land.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Symmetry.
And Kim is in California, right? Or is she back now?
She's home. That's why I didn't want to do this tonight. Remember?
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, I know, but I
My
didn't know
bad.
exactly what time. Oh, my pick now again, huh? I will go. I'm going to go Disney because this is my favorite of all the Disney movies. I'm going with Jasmine and Aladdin.
Nice.
Street Rat.
Excellent.
I didn't
know
put
why I
any
like
Disney ones
Jasmine.
on here. That's a good one.
I didn't either. I thought of them, but yeah, I didn't.
I thought about Belle and the Beast, but he's a beast, so I don't know.
He doesn't count.
He's a beast. All right. I'm gonna go with a couple. She loves him, and he knows. We talked about her tonight. We talked about Carrie Fisher, and I'm going with Han and Leia.
There you go.
They are on my list.
Yeah, I didn't think of them. That's a good one.
Such a baller line. I love you. I know. Like, come on. That's the best.
All right. I'm going to take one from a movie I mentioned earlier tonight. We talked about several couples in this movie when we did this movie way back.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us agreed our favorite couple was Jamie and Aurelia in Love Actually, especially for the last scene. I mean, it all just comes together.
Just in cases.
Speaking
still so great.
And to bring Jenny back in, Aurelia.
L.A. Love Actually.
Yes, yes.
And I always thought that Aurelia, she always reminded me of like Jenny's, like a sister, to Jenny, basically. Looks like she'd be in the same family. Yep.
Well, I'm going to go. We're going to have another Harrison Ford one here. I'm going with Indiana Jones and Marion.
I got that one. Yep.
This.
Yeah, that's a great pick. All right, I'm going to go with what I feel is one of the hottest couples to ever be on the big screen. We covered this movie on a previous episode, and I'm going to go with John and Jane Smith.
That's on my list.
And Mrs. Smith.
Yeah. I was thinking of a different hot couple that we haven't done this movie, but we've talked about.
Well, we'll have to bring them up in your honorable mention then.
Unless I pick them right now. I'm not going to pick them right now, but okay. I will. There's two here I want to pick. I'm not going to win this vote no matter what. You guys you got the Harrison Ford ones, and I'm not going to win this vote. So I should just go off the board and do something different, which I have so many options for that because I have a lot of weird ones that you guys probably won't have. I'm going to pick one. I don't even know if you guys have seen this movie, but if you haven't, you got to watch it. It's an Alfred Hitchcock classic. Have you seen Rear Window?
Rear Window, yeah.
Have you? Okay, good. So L.B. Jeffries, Jimmy Stewart, and Lisa Fremont, maybe the most beautiful woman ever in a movie in history. In this movie, Grace Kelly, they are wonderful and cute. I'm going way back to those two. And the first time I saw the movie, I'm like, this movie is so great. And as much as I love Meg Ryan, I mean, Grace Kelly, come on.
Yeah.
All right. I've got the steal of the draft right here. I guarantee you this is one that you guys didn't think about. And I didn't think you guys did. And I was taking a risk at putting this all the way down to my last pick. This is my favorite pick of all of them. And you guys are going to love it too. And it's going to be the one that wins me the vote.
Let me guess.
Yeah, go ahead.
Lloyd Christmas and Harry.
No.
Oh?
I'm going with Ned Niederlander and the sexy senorita at the end of Three Amigos.
I thought of because Courtney even brought that up last night. She goes, how about the Three Amigos? And I was like, oh, yeah, there's, Kiss Me on the Veranda. Yeah. And then the other lady, I'll come back for you. Why?
All right. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Oh, no.
All right. I'm going to go with another. Can I have your watch when you are dead? I'm going to go with another couple that their chemistry smoldered throughout the movie.
Maybe this is my other one.
And at the end, they finally got together in one of the hottest scenes at the end of a movie.
We're talking about the same one. I'm curious.
I am going to go with Crash and Annie from Bull Durham.
Okay. I thought you were describing
That's a good one.
Now I get that totally.
Yep.
All right. Well, I almost.
What were you thinking?
I thought you were talking about what are their names? Jack and Karen, George Clooney and Jennifer Lopez in Out of Sight.
Oh, I didn't have that on my list.
So that was what I was referring to earlier. When we did our sexy scenes, that was my number pick thing.
Yep.
All right, so that was one of my honorable mentions. I'll run through here. Gifford, I had Jacob and Hannah from Crazy Stupid Love. I thought you might pick them, considering how much you love that movie.
I actually put Cal and Emily.
Oh,
because they're soulmates.
That's a good point. Yeah, I mean you have multiple options there.
Yes, you do.
I didn't think of them at all, though. That's a good one. I have not Crash, but I have Roy and Molly from Tin Cup. After we redid Tin Cup a few months ago, I love those two. They're fantastic.
I got them on my list as well.
You might have just listened to a week and a half ago Groundhog Day by us, and Phil and Rita are great. That was one I almost picked. When I was going to go off the board, I was going to pick Peter and Sydney from I Love You Man, because I always refer to I Love You Man as a romantic comedy. Even though they're not a romantic couple, they are a great couple. And I thought, Harry and Lloyd might fit this too. Kind of thought that's where you were headed.
Sure.
Nobody picked Vivian and Edward and Pretty Woman. That would have been a big one to pick.
I got them on here. Yep.
I got Buddy and Jovi from Elf. I almost picked them. They are a great couple. And 2 more. Mary and Ted from There's Something About Mary.
Yep.
About 10 times Ted. And then another movie that didn't get a lot of, great accolades, but I really liked it, and I want to watch it again one of these days, is Pete and Debbie from This Is 40, because, I love Leslie Mann so much. And that's such realistic, couples. They're going through all their troubles, and they're just fun to watch, and I want to watch that movie again.
Mm-hmm.
So those were my other choices. Pete.
Okay.
I did have Jack and Rose from Titanic. Kathleen and Joe, You Got Mail. Sam and Annie, Sleepless in Seattle. And Ron and Hermione in Harry Potter.
Oh, yep. You got to have that in there for sure.
That's
what you got there, Pete? Anything else?
That's it.
All right.
Everything else I had was picked.
I got Rocky and Adrian.
Oh, I did forget one.
Oh, go ahead.
All right. Well, I was going to wait, but Love Actually, I forgot the other one. Prime Minister and Natalie.
Yeah.
I put that movie.
I put Jamie and Aurelia on my list off of that one, but that would have been the other one.
They're your next one too, right?
Yep, they're my next one.
Actually,
they're what?
I think they're cuter, actually, but Jamie and Aurelia are the better love story.
What do we call her, Chubby? I got Jerry and Dorothy from Jerry Maguire. How about Miracle Max and Valerie? My second couple from Princess Bride.
How about Fezzik and Inigo Montoya?
Right. Well, and honestly, Brad, I'm a little surprised you didn't go Adele and Neil. From
Planes and Automobiles.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be a good out of the box one there.
Yep. I got Superman and Lois Lane. I really enjoyed the movie As Good as It Gets. So Melvin and Carol from that movie, they were excellent. Jim and Michelle from American Pie, one of my favorite couples of all time. Neo and Trinity from Matrix. Let me see. Do you guys remember the movie Easy A?
Yeah, I love that movie. Emma Stone.
Yep. Rosemary and Dill, her parents, those two are in love.
Is that the Scrubs guy? Who's in that?
No, that's oh my God.
No, he's the dad in Mean Girls.
Yeah. It's
I forget who's in that.
Oh, for Pete's sake. Anyway, love that couple. I also have Adam and Barbara Maitland from Beetlejuice.
Oh.
One of the hottest couples, I'm going to end with 2 very hot couples here. I have Nick and Catherine from Basic Instinct. And undeniable, they always find each other no matter where they are. That would be Finch and Stifler's mom. Very hot couple.
Mm-hmm. All right, I think we covered a lot of ground on that one with the couples. That was good. That's why I didn't bring TV into it, because there's too many then.
There's so many to choose from.
We can do that another time. All right, so next
Hey,
week,
Gifford. Oh, sorry.
We're
going to move to what Pete loves. Remind him what we're going to do next week, Pete.
We're going to stick with the Valentine's Day theme, and we're going to talk about roses. Guns and roses, that is. Yeah. Gifford, are you getting a little hungry? I'm getting hungry. I've got an appetite.
Yeah, you do. Appetite for what? For destruction. Lovely. Excellent.
Right, that'll be good.
Hey, Gifford, do you know what band always makes women meow?
That is Preacher Row.
You got it.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
That's a good one. All right.
They all are.
See you next week.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
for what I have done. Silence, your sun is gone. 7 steps and it will be my last. Next time, tell me on my path. I turn and I look to you. I'm scared, but there's nothing I can do.